My buddy Max sent me a couple of stones. These were pretty convexed from Ken Schwartz for razor sharpening. He asked me to flatten them back out, which I did. If I think about it, I'll roll some pictures in to show you how convex they were. I used several different grits, mainly 46, to get them flattened, and then from 46 I went to a progression 60, 90, 120, 220, and finally 500, which is where I left them. I've used these once since that time. They still have a little convexity around the edges. You can kind of see it right here, but it's nothing serious. I want to go ahead and use these stones one more time before I send them back to him. I'm going to use a Damascus steel knife that was sent to me when I purchased the tumbler. So, no idea what the coarse steel is. We're going to use this guy, however, just to run through these stones and see how they feel and what kind of edge they produce. I am also going to use the Naniwa Chosera 400 and 1000 grits. First things first, we're going to start on the 400 grit. These are splash and go stones. 400 will absorb a little bit of water. Nothing spectacular though. I am going to cut the edge off. That should be fairly dulled. And we are going to proceed. Now I'm probably going to have to reprofile this thing. It's never been sharpened before. I have picked up a little bit of rust along the bevel here, but nothing too serious. It's fairly thin, so it shouldn't take very long. Famous last words. Now this stone is deceptively quick. You got to be kind of careful with it. Already developed a burr along most of the edge. Go ahead and switch sides. I see I still need a little bit of work at the tip. I don't feel a burr up in the belly area either, so. Got a burr now. I want to work that tip a little bit. Get down in there. So I missed it the last go. This is the 1000 grit Naniwa Pro, basically the Chosera stones. This one will also absorb just a little bit of water, but nothing too serious. Now, I've in the past had issues with my Naniwa Pros cracking on me. 1000 grit in particular is one of them that does that. To avoid it, I have to lap the stone after every single use. My sharpening angle here is a little jacked up because of my camera angle. My tripod's right in my way. Hand wobbling all over the place there. Move the camera a little bit so I can get a better position on my knife here. This is one of the reasons I'm not a big fan of the stone. It just creates a ton of slurry and swarf. It just gets everywhere. Got a small burr. Heard a piece of it pop off. Alright, now we're on to the stones that I'm trying to show off. This is the 4000 grit. Now these stones are a little softer than what I like to use. I have in the past snow plowed them. If that's an issue for you, you can always just do edge trailing strokes like this. I'm not a fan of that way of sharpening, however. I'd rather do the back and forth motion like you always see me do here. It just speeds things up. I feel like there are risks to it, like snow plowing your stone and shaving your apex off. Getting a little bit of a polish. Yeah, that's looking decent. I need a little more work in the tip, as usual. Go ahead and flip sides. I hit my tripod. Give you guys an overview shot of this. Keep hitting my tripod. Stone's getting quite a lot of buildup, so what I'm gonna do is take a rust eraser and knock that swarf off. There we go. Now that the stone is cleaned up, sounds like I got some grit. I think I knocked it off. Sounded like I had grit on the stone. I think we're almost done with this one. And this is the last stone, 8,000 grit. Probably a little superfluous to take this particular knife this high, but I got the stones, trying to test them out, so why not? Now these stones were basically freshly lapped, so they got kind of a pebbly texture to them. So if you look at the swarf here, you can kind of see what I'm talking about. You got like little dots of buildup, and that's all from the texture of the stone from where I lapped it, where the silicon carbide powder left the texture a little coarser than what you would normally expect. That does a few things. It makes the stone more aggressive, gives it a lot more feedback, but it also doesn't polish near as well as it would if, say, this were lapped on just a sheet of glass. Just rub it across glass and smooth out the surface. That would really make the texture and the surface very fine. But since I'm sending these back to Max, I'll let him break these bad boys back in and decide how he wants to treat the surface. As you can hear though, it's got a ton of feedback. If I go over angle or under, it lets me know. It starts screaming. Not getting a whole lot of swarf on this one. Very fine stone. Getting a nice polish. I'm just going to go a few more passes on this stone. Fresh off the stone, slice is really nice. I don't think anybody would be dissatisfied with that edge. I'm just going to strop on leather with some white chromium oxide compound. Now let's see how it slices. much cleaner. Definitely tell it's got a level of sharpness that it didn't have before. It's just a smoother, cleaner cut. It's even quieter. That is a nice edge. This is the stropped edge. Got a brighter finish. Would I recommend the 4K and 8K Naniwa Fuji and Hayabusa? That's a tough question. I would probably say no, just because of the issues I've had with Naniwa stones cracking. But that's a personal thing. You may not have the experience I have had, in which case you may love these stones. On another note, for myself personally, I don't like soft stones. These are definitely soft. They're very susceptible to snow plowing. Digging your edge right into them and shaving the apex clean off. They do a nice polish. So far I've used them on this Damascus steel. I've used them on Magna Cut. I've used it on 154 CM. And I believe that's it. They polish very well for each steel. I had no complaints there. I don't know what the pricing is on these over here in the States. They may be cheap if they are, and you're looking for an 8K, 4K combo. Well, if nothing else is catching your eye, these aren't a bad choice. Like I said, I would just personally steer clear of them because of the softness. Also, my past issues with Naniwa. Again, those are personal things. You may not have the same opinion as I do. Either way, appreciate you guys watching. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. Y'all have a good one.